The Alfa Nero.
Alfa Nero.
Alfa Nero.
The Alfa Nero has left the shores of Antigua and Barbuda, and yet at the same time, it has not gone anywhere. The latest element of this ongoing saga being the continually increasing legal fees that are being paid from the public purse for the defense of the Prime Minister and other government officials. On May the 15th, that price tag was said to read $136,000 US, and by now must be much higher. This has, of course, become fodder for the PM's political rivals, with the many considering the arrangement, which is at the public's expense, to be unethical. In defense of his position, the PM weighed in on the subject, drawing from an illustration of banking legislation.
So in those three bills, there is what you call privileges and immunities, in which if officials of the central bank or those institutions, the Deposit Protection Trust and so on, if they operate within the function of their duties and then they get sued by anyone, they're indemnified. But more so, if they have to defend any litigation, it is the institution
that will have to pay.
I said to Jamal Pringle and in particular, and even Richard Lewis, who can be very obstinate, I said, look, you have seen a situation in which we come to Parliament from time to time, and that workers, it's a well-known legal principle that if you act within the scope of your authority and you acted in good faith, your organization or the government that you work for is duty-bound to pay the fees.
Public sponsorship for legal fees is always a touchy subject. It is a matter of much ongoing debate in many of the world's democracies, especially due to the increase we've seen in the weaponizing of litigation for the sake of political expediency. Many people affiliated with the opposition party have taken the position that the PM is out of bounds, directing their ire at him for using public funds in his legal defense. UPP executive member Jonathan Wenner added his 2 cents to the issue.
There's a pattern of behavior here as we observe this Gaston Brown administration. I don't want persons to just think I'm saying this to be contrarian. Look at the pattern of behavior when it comes to frivolous lawsuits and legal fees being paid for private individuals. There's so many instances time and time again where the government uses its resources in a flippant way to harass citizens, and they just throw the taxpayers' money down the drain. This is another instance. These persons have the capability to pay their legal fees themselves. There is no reason why someone is being sued in their private capacity in Antigua and Barbuda, and the taxpayers, not the government, the taxpayers, we, with our social security, education levy, etc., are paying to fund their private expenses.
To further drive home the argument, a precedent in the political history of Antigua and Barbuda was brought up by host and former UPP MP, Honorable Dr. Jackie Quinn.
Weber III, he pointed out to us some weeks ago when this all unfolded that when his father had the airport runway scandal,
yes,
he had to hire his own legal team and he had to manage and pay his own legal fees.
Yep.
He was a minister being sued, and this scandal came up. Yes, he was acting as a minister, but he was being sued in his private capacity. And I think, and I can't remember what the figure was, but close to $1 million he had to pay.
Out of his own pocket?
Out of his own pocket.
The taxpayers to fund that for him.
The circumstance being pointed to is the political career of the Honorable Weber Jr., who was the subject of controversy during his tenure as a member of government. The claim that he funded his own legal defense against inquiries of corruption during his time as a minister certainly seems like an apples-to-apples comparison. Well, let's examine it. Should a government official have the benefit of legal protection at the taxpayer's expense? Well, by the same token that he or she enjoys other privileged amenities, it really is hard to say no. The rationale would be that they are entitled to these things because it is assumed that their lives are otherwise marked by self-sacrifice and service. Let's say, for argument's sake, that a government official were to suffer legal persecution for doing work that was objectively and definitively for the good of the people. I'd argue that it would be unethical not to sponsor their legal defense. You don't muzzle an ox when it treads out the grain. If past government officials were not afforded the same privilege while they were acting in good faith, well, perhaps they should have been. And the person's own financial standing is another matter altogether, with its own set of ethical considerations. We would all hope that the wealthy have a personal conviction to lighten the load for the masses, but we're just examining what's appropriate, absent of speculation about personal finances. The argument that the PM is being sued in his private capacity doesn't really hold water either, because essentially he's being legally pursued by an entity that claimed ownership of the Alfa Nero. So the agenda of this entity is tied implicitly to dealings associated with this boat, dealings that were clearly performed by the PM in an official capacity. So often, the meat of these issues becomes shrouded under political atmospheric clouds, with claims of corruption, treason, theft, and collusion coming from the respective sides. It is easy to become so politically indoctrinated that we essentially become gang members in our blind partisan loyalty and inability to think or reason critically. It's just, there's the ops, shoot the ops. And then we wonder where our kids get it from. Really, the question at hand was, is, should be, and continues to be this. As he is a beneficiary of not only public sponsorship, but also public trust and a large amount of domestic and foreign influence, was it right for the PM to pick up the people and then suddenly sell them off? Or them should have left the people and then sudden loan in the first place? Sorry, I'm not sure where that came from. Was the PM and the government performing ethically, working in good faith for the best interests of the people of Antigua and Barbuda in their decisions regarding the Alfa Nero? Whatever your opinion may be on the entire matter, this is the principle that should inform our analysis on this sensitive issue of public sponsorship. This has been a production of Antigua.News. I am Orville Charles.